welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's so lovely to have you here. Today we are continuing with the conversation of difficult conversations. I know that a lot of people struggle to step into this place. I know that it is filled with anxiety and fear, and a lot of my clients speak about not wanting to rock the boat or keeping the peace. And I know it's a question I've asked before, but whose peace are you actually keeping? Because it's not your peace. You're the one that's still feeling those emotions, still feeling the discomfort, and not feeling happy about the relationship or the situation, yet you continue to be quiet about it. So we choose how we allow people to treat us. And I know that's another hard pill to swallow, but I want you to think about it for a second. If there is a situation in any environment, whether it's home or work or in your social environment, where you're consistently finding that somebody is making you feel belittled or treating you in a certain way, and you don't speak up for yourself, they are going to assume that that behavior is okay. And until we find the courage and lean into the vulnerability of having these difficult conversations, that situation will continue to happen. Things like, I can't believe she continues to do this to me. I can't believe. Well, I want you to believe, because you have not said anything, because you feel the discomfort. You are feeling nervous and scared to step into that space of having a difficult conversation. So I know everything that I've said here is a bit of a truth bomb and maybe makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, and maybe you have swiped out of this video. But if you are still here and you are feeling like this is something that you need, and you recognize yourself in the examples that I've given you, please hang around, because what I'm going to share with you today is 5 steps to prep for your difficult conversation. So I've said this plenty of times, it's not just about blurting out how you feel at an inappropriate time. It is about really understanding and diving a little bit deeper into the process of having difficult conversations. So today let's talk about what are those 5 steps. So step number 1 is really beginning to start exploring what the situation is at hand. Like, what is upsetting you? And it's not, remember, in a particular stressful situation, unhappy situation, emotional situation. I want you to think about the analogy of an iceberg, all right? Think about the Titanic. The icebergs were small on top, but massive underneath. And when we start unpacking and looking at that, looking at the situation from different perspectives, taking a deeper dive into those elements of the situation will become clearer, or the issue will become clearer. So I want to encourage you to grab your journals, find a quiet place to sit, make yourself something nice to drink that makes you feel good, and start writing about the situation. Journaling is really powerful. I know a lot of people resist it because either it's not their thing or they don't know what to write, but there's no right or wrong when it comes to journaling. Allow thoughts and the words to flow through your hand, and then go back and have a read if you want. You don't have to, but I want you to write the situation at the top of the page, and then begin to look at, what is this situation costing you? What is it costing you for allowing you to allow it, sorry, but tongue-tied, to continue by not saying anything? What is the impact that it's having on you? How's it making you feel? What do you do when you're around this person every time, or you're in the same situation every time? Because eventually, when we keep taking those knocks, we tend to shut down and we tend to build a wall in front of us, which creates this disconnection in our relationships. So I want to encourage you to look at, what is this situation costing me if I continue to allow it to happen? And write about anything that comes up into your mind, because it's really important to see how it's impacting you. Then I want you to write about, if I decide to have a difficult conversation, what could this relationship or situation look like? Okay, if I find that courage, if I lean into the vulnerability, what will the impact be? What will the benefits be of me stepping into this place, of me having the difficult conversation. Okay. How important is this relationship to me? It's really, really important to dive a little bit deeper and understanding that, yes, this is my husband, my partner, my children, my parents. These relationships are really important. This is my friend. These relationships are important to me. So I need to have this conversation because I don't want to continue feeling like this. I don't want to continue building that barrier of connection between myself and this other person. So getting clarity, diving a little deeper, journaling around the situation would be your step one. So take some time to do that. Doesn't have to happen in one night. It can happen over a couple of days or a week. There's no right or wrong here. You follow what comes to you in that moment. If you want to write 10 pages, if you want to write 2 sentences, that is okay. You follow what you need and you trust yourself. Then I want you to think about, what is my contribution to this problem? Because it takes 2 to tango. All right. You will be adding to the stress, and it might even be as simple as because I'm not speaking up, because I'm not courageous enough to say something. And remember that it's always, when we speak up for ourselves, it needs to come from a place of compassion and fairness. And that is why it is so important for you to prepare for this conversation, to really understand what the issue is at hand here. So I know looking at your contribution to play to the situation can feel desperately uncomfortable. So a lot of self-compassion as you do this, because we don't want you to go into beating yourself up, blaming yourself. It is really around looking at the awareness of the situation. Or maybe I don't really respond in the best possible way. Maybe I have this level of anger or resentment to the situation. So whenever this person speaks to me, I am snappy or short, or I have a harsh tone, and then it upsets them. So maybe I need to look at my tone or the way I respond, or look at the emotions that are driving the way that I'm engaging with this person. So you can see how you really have to reflect and take some time to look at your contribution to the issue. I then want you to explore the TFA. So this is a tool that I use in my coaching. Think, feel, and act. Our feelings drive our thoughts drive our feelings, and both of those drive the way that we show up in the world. So if you think about it, you may have a particular thought like, oh, I don't want to rock the boat in this situation because I know that other person gets so defensive. So then you feel anxious about it, or if you feel fearful about it, and your action is you don't do anything about it. So you can see how those 3 things, the TFA triangle, works. There's an interplay between the 3 of them, and looking at and exploring your thoughts and your feelings and your action around that particular situation will also give you clarity. So I want you to jot down, what are my feelings around what happens? What are my usual thoughts around what happens? And what do I do in that situation? So maybe if you keep quiet, or you don't go to that social setting because that person's going to be there, so you're the one that is losing out. Okay. If you had to begin shifting your thoughts, your emotions, what would be different in that situation? So thoughts being, I'm really tired of feeling the way I'm feeling, and so I'm going to do the work to be able to have a difficult conversation. Anxiety might show up again, but knowing what you want to feel like afterwards, which is probably empowered. When you walk away from that conversation, your legs might be jelly and you might be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. But you will feel empowered because you communicated what is going on for you. And you will be more encouraged to have more conversations in the future, because that's what happens. The more courageous we are in our lives, the more courageous we will be in our lives. So you will then be able to have difficult conversations in different areas of your life. Think, feel, act. How am I currently thinking, feeling, and behaving? And how would I like to think and feel and behave? Okay, TFA, really great tool. Again, needing to write that out in your journal. Then you're going to request a meeting. Sure, I know my heart just skipped a beat. I know it's full of anxiety. I know it is fearful. I know you are so worried about the outcome, but I want to remind you, we have no control of how other people are going to react and respond. So yes, there is a possibility that they're not going to respond positively. Yes, there is a possibility that they're going to get defensive. And remember, if this happens, there are no rules to say you have to stick out in the conversation and end up being in conflict. You can say to the person, I can see that we are both getting a little bit defensive. We are both getting a bit angry. Should we maybe revisit this topic tomorrow when we're both feeling a bit calmer? How do you feel about that? You acknowledging the other person, you getting their opinion on something, and so they might go, oh, okay, yeah, actually, let's chat about it tomorrow. So it's really, really important when you have this meeting request to know that you have no control over the outcome. Okay, do some breathing techniques, get that emotional brain, that nervous system in check. And you can say something as simple as this: there's something really important I would like to chat to you about. Please let me know when you've got 30 minutes tomorrow, on the weekend, this evening, that you and I can really chat about this. Okay, you might get a response of, oh, what is it? Tell me. Or you might get, okay, cool, no problem. If it's, what is it? You can say, like, tell me now, if the person wants to know now, which generally people do because they feel uncomfortable. You can say, I'd prefer if we had enough time to chat about it. Okay, you don't have to go into that conversation immediately unless you're ready to. All right, that is entirely up to you and where you're at. And the last step is really getting clear on what it is you're going to say. So this conversation that you're going to have needs to be done in 2 minutes. Okay, I'm not saying rush through it either, because you need to clearly communicate in a calm space what is going on for you. And remember, you can share how you feel in the conversation. You can say, I feel really nervous to have this conversation with you, but I think it's very important because I value this relationship and I want us to be on the same page. I want this clarity. It's okay to share how you feel. So I'm going to be sharing a script on how to have difficult conversations. Look out for that video. This will help you gain clarity on what it is you want to say. So take the script and jot it down. You don't have to take your piece of paper into the meeting with you, but you can just allow yourself that opportunity to get clear on what you want to say, and do it in the most productive way, that you don't find yourself in conflict, that you don't find yourself in defensiveness or the other person getting defensive, that it's a really beautiful open conversation, a heartfelt conversation, and hoping that the other person will be receptive to what you're saying. So if you have any questions or comments about what I've shared, 5 tips to prepping for a difficult conversation, just pop it in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.